Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the new lecture of Web Engineering course. My name is Professor Dr. Rizwan Jamil Qureshi. We learned some fundamentals of web engineering concepts related to the networks. What is WWW? World Wide Web is a collection of electronic documents, and this was the concept introduced by Tim Berners-Lee in 1990. What is a socket? We already learned about socket in the previous lecture. Socket is a channel for network communication. So now we have two questions. What is channel? What is a network? Channel is a link or medium used to join two or more networking devices, communicating devices. The medium could be wired, that could be wireless, like for example coaxial cables, twisted pair, fiber optic, and wireless we have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and home RF. And the second question, what is a network? Network is a collection of computers and devices which are connected together via communicating devices and transmission media. How many components are there in a socket? There are three components are there in a socket. We have protocol, we have port, and we have host address. What is protocol? Protocol is a set of standards so that hardware and software manufactured and developed by different vendors can intercommunicate with each other, like we have TCP, IP, HTTP, FTP, POP, SMTP protocols are there. What is port? The second component. Port is a network access point, and there are 62,535 ports are available. The first 200 are reserved, like for HTTP, 80, FTP, 35, POP 110, SMTP 25. What is a host address? What is a host? And then we know what's address. What is its address? Host is a server that manages network resources and fulfills the requests of the clients. And each machine over the network has a unique address. It's a sequential number, and this sequential number is called IP address. And like we have 64.4.10.7, the old address of Hotmail server in 2000 and 2001, and 127.0.0.1 is the local host. Who is responsible to assign IP addresses? There is an organization in America, its name is ICANN, Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. ISP, Internet Service Providers, purchased IPs from ICANN, and individuals and organizations, business organizations, private companies, they purchased IP addresses from the ISP, like we have STC, Zen, Mobile in KSA, or in Pakistan we have Uphone, PTCL is there. How many components are there in an IP address? There are two components. We have network ID and we have host ID. Like we have address 64.4.10.7. 64 is the network ID and 0.4.10.7 is the host ID. How many type of classes in IP addressing? There are three type of classes in IP addressing. We have class A address, class B, class C. In class A, we just covered the example of class A addressing 64.4.10. So 64 is the network ID and 0.4.10.7 is the host ID. In the class B, the first two numbers are network ID and the last two are the host ID. 64.4 is the network ID, 10.7 is the host ID. In class C, 64.4.10 is the first part and it's the network ID, and 0.7 is the second part, that's the host ID. It is difficult to remember IP addressing, so we have a solution: domain name. Domain name is the text-based name that reflects the IP address of a machine, like hotmail.com is the domain name and IP address is 64.4.10.7. How many components are there in a domain name? We have four components in a domain name. We have protocol, we have web service, we have domain name, and we have the top level domain. Like we have address http www.google.com. So https is the protocol, www is the web service, Google is the domain name, and .com is the top level domain. We have different type of top level domains. .com shows commercial or profitable organizations. .edu shows educational organizations, .org shows non-profitable organizations, .gov shows government organizations, .net shows network providers. We have different type of internet protocols. We have TCP/IP, UDP, HTTP, SMTP, POP, DNS, FTP. UDP, user datagram protocol. UDP is a connectionless protocol and it does not guarantee the delivery of data, whereas TCP/IP is a connection-oriented protocol. In the IP, it is composed of two parts. We have TCP and we have IP. The IP protocol is used to send the packets across the network and it breaks the packets into smaller packets, whereas TCP transmission control protocol is responsible to get an acknowledgement in return to make sure that data has reached the destination. If not, it will resubmit. It will ask the IP protocol to resend it. SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, is used for delivery and sending of the mail. Post office protocol is used to receive packets or retrieve packets. File transfer protocol used to transfer the files. How many layers are there in TCP/IP? TCP/IP protocol contains 5 layers. We have application, transport, network, data link, and the physical. Application layer provides an interface to the users of the web application to receive and send the data. Transport layer protects the data from errors. Error handling is done in the transport protocol. Network layer routes the data from source to destination. Data link layer is responsible for fragmentation and defragmentation of data, divides the data into packets and assembles the data at the receiving end, whereas the physical layer are the physical cables that are connected to the computers to transfer the data from host to the destination. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum.